back row.
Sure I can.
No.
I definitely can.
No, this is my mom, Julie. So she gave birth to Megan, and I unfortunately almost killed her during birth. And she now, still to this day, says that I'm the biggest pain in her ass, which is what she just said to me in my ear. So I want to open this up for you guys to ask any questions that you need to ask, whether it's from her point of view or whether it's from mine. I promise you there's not a question that you're going to ask me that I have not heard. So I'm open to answer anything that you have to ask. Yeah.
Have you fully transitioned, and do you plan to if you haven't?
What is your definition of fully transitioned?
Like bottom surgery?
Okay. I don't plan on having bottom surgery. It's never something that I wanted to have, but that varies from person to person. So in my eyes, I have fully transitioned. I have my name changed on all my paperwork. I have my new ID. I've had top surgery, and that's as far as I plan to go with my transition. But for other people, it's very different. But it's just not, personally not for me. Anybody else?
All right, my question is for you. I see that you're wearing a cross, so I assume that you're religious, as am I. I'm asking if you've had any issues reconciling your faith with your identity, because that is something I am personally going through.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not a very religious person. I wear this cross for my grandmother who passed away in December. She was actually the first person that I ever told about who I was. At the time, I was 11, 12 years old, and I told her that I was gay. And we were sitting in a village inn, and she looks at me and says, "You're just now realizing that?" I'm like, "I'm 11 years old. What do you mean? There's so much I haven't realized." And she goes, "I've known since you could walk that's who you were." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be." But this cross reminds me so much of her. I found it in Vegas, so there's something different about it. So I'm not really a religious person, but coming from my mom who is, my grandmother who is, my mom was raised in a Catholic family. That was something that I really had trouble with when talking to my grandmother, because she was raised so Catholic. For her, it was, why are you gonna do that to your body? Why are you gonna put foreign things into your body that you don't need? Why can't you just love yourself the way that God has? Like, why do you have to give yourself a medical description of what you're feeling? I said, dysphoria is not a medical description. It's telling you that I'm uncomfortable with who I am in the body that I am. But as time went on, and as she started to really see me for me, she really started to open her eyes and realize that if she's trying to put God in my life, and one thing that God always says is to not judge others. So what is she to judge me for being me? And now she's my best friend. She makes comments all the time about how great my fashion is now compared to what it used to be. And she's like, "It makes sense now. It makes sense." But yeah, so I'm not really a religious person, but I feel like that's for you. You said your struggle is really trying to identify who you are when it comes to your religion.
Yeah.
And what is it that's difficult for you, if you don't mind saying? Just.
It's because of the history of the church itself being so anti-gay, and just trying to get through the apologetics of it, and trying to reconcile that it's okay to be both gay or trans and Christian.
Right. So you're.
Sorry about that one.
No, I have the same thought sometimes, but for me, I just keep it very simple. I love Megan because he's my child. It doesn't matter, what my religious beliefs are, what my church believes. It is a struggle for me also, but I do want to have a relationship with God, but my relationship with my son is here and now, and I'm still gonna, learn about God and see how this all meshes, but it's not gonna change what I do. He's first. And so for me, it's just simple. If I know that he is happy and well, then to me, that's just the bottom line. I don't understand the whole, the shunning, and I was with him at his top surgery, and hearing the stories of these children whose parents, there was an 18-year-old, just turned 18, and he was by himself, and it just broke my heart. So I don't care what religion you are, or what I are, or if you agree, or if the church agrees. Mason's my son, and it just should be as simple as that for anyone.
And that goes for you. You are who you are, and look, if you believe God, if you believe in God, I mean, God put us here, right? I mean, if that's what people who believe in God believe, is that He put us here and He made you. And I've heard He doesn't make mistakes, so He didn't make a mistake with you. So you are exactly who you should be. And I don't know what it's like to be in a position where the church is really making me feel a certain way, but I do know that you are enough, exactly the way that you are, and you don't need to prove that to anybody. So I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
Good. Anybody else? I really want to get my mom talking. So.
No.
This is like the only chance I have. So.
I'm like sweating.
All right. This isn't really going to be that serious a question, but I am curious, and I think you can help with that. So, when did he tell you he wanted to be, like, that he was trans? He was a man in a woman's body?
Well,
What did he tell you?
it's fun. Just like his grandmother, before he transitioned, I always knew he was gay. Don't ask me how. I don't know what that is. I don't know if there's a name for that, a premonition, whatever you want to call it. I knew it. I knew it from the time he was growing up. I could see it in the relationships that he cultivated. So I was sitting, was it right before Christmas? Right before the holidays, right? I was at work, and Mason, of course, like I'm sure all of you, because of your ages, is a texter. You know, usually if I'm getting a phone call, it's because he wants something from me, money or,
That's a little
So,
extreme.
so I get this text, and he says, "Mom, I really need to talk to you about something, but I'm really nervous." And as soon as I read it, I was like, he's gonna tell me he is a boy. Don't ask me where that came from, but it was just, at that moment, not that I didn't struggle, there is a process as a parent, you raise a daughter for 25 years or whatever, and then, so there is a period of loss, you kind of go through that, but as soon as he said it, or as soon as the text came through and I knew it before he even actually said it, there was a piece of like, yes, this makes perfect sense now. This makes perfect sense. So that's really how it is. And I called him and we talked on the phone, and
I did not want to answer the phone. I was so scared. I was having a panic attack.
I just said, Mason, well, I didn't say Mason at the time, I was like, Megan, I'm like, I am your parent. My job in this world is to try to protect you the best I can and to be there for you. If you're not hurting anyone else, you're not hurting me. I want you to be happy. So if this has been your struggle for so long, it breaks my heart that he struggled for that long with it. Like I wished it maybe would have happened sooner, but it made perfect sense. It just was full circle. So.
All right, and part two of that is, so since he told that to you, and now, are you guys ever find humor in it? Like me and my family, we talk smack all the
He
time.
said
like
the other
it's-
day, I had him, like I said, he was a tough birth. I got ill before I had him, and he was early, and he says that if he had just stayed in the womb longer, that it all would have taken care of itself, but because I had him early, things didn't get done all the way.
I was like, I didn't fully cook, Mom. You had to pull me out 2.5 weeks early, so now I'm missing equipment. Yeah.
Was there ever a moment where he was like, he didn't want to do something, he would have said something like, "Ah, man up." Like.
Oh, no, that's all my dad. That is 100% my dad. My dad became my personal trainer. I really wanted to get into fitness, and I was an athlete and always in the gym or whatever. But he really took it upon himself to be like, right, you're not my daughter anymore. You're my son, and I'm going to treat you like my son. So, man up. I mean, if you're going to be a boy, you can't complain about X, Y, and Z. I don't want to hear that it's too heavy. I don't want to hear that you're tired. So he loves to run with that. Loves to run with the fact that he has 2 boys instead of 1. So
I was telling you better open doors and,
I did that.
pay,
I did that as a girl too.
So, as you can see, we have different perceptions. So.
Anyways, yes.
What was your dad's reaction when you told him?
I told my dad at a vet's office in North Carolina. I had gotten a job to be a dog trainer, and I was in school in North Carolina, and for whatever whatever reason, I felt like that was an appropriate time to send him that text message when I was taking my client's dog to the vet. And I texted him, I said, hypothetically speaking, what would you say if you knew someone who was trans? And he responded, I'm literally having a heart attack in the vet's office, like I'm profusely sweating and freaking out. And he wrote me back and he said, you're my child, you'll always be my child, and I love you no matter what. So then of course I cried in front of the vet as he's telling me about this dog who has an allergic reaction to something, and I'm crying because I'm like, oh no, the dog. So yeah, again, I've been so fortunate to have a family that I do to really support me the way that they have, because there's just so many people out there who don't have that luxury, and it truly is. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have my family behind me, and I never thought in a million years, because my mom is so shy and likes to be in the back of the room, that she would ever stand up here and do something like this. So you guys are seeing a monumental moment, just so you guys know. Just so you know. Yeah.
Do you get insulted when people refer you as a her instead of you?
I have not been misgendered in years. I was very fortunate for my physical attributes to change very quickly when it came to testosterone. Within like the first 3 to 4 months, I could be having a conversation like this, and all of a sudden my voice would crack, and it sounded like two cats fighting. And then I would like clear my voice, and my voice would be like an octave lower, I felt like. So it happened very quickly. So I haven't gone through that in a long time, but I do know, and I do see on social media so often that, you know, if I'm in a Facebook chat with other trans guys from all over, you know, the world, that's one of the biggest things that they have that they have trouble with, is being misgendered or not being called by their given name. And it's hard. I mean, I'm sure it is, and I know that I dealt with it for a short period of time, and of course it's extremely uncomfortable. I mean, how do you explain something like that to, you know, to someone so early on when you're still learning yourself? So it's very uncomfortable, but again, I'm very fortunate that I haven't gone through that in a long time. So anybody else? No? Nope, you can't go sit down. Someone's gonna ask something. Anybody? No? All right. Well, you got out easy. I appreciate you coming up here. I love you. Thank you for coming. And really, guys, I mean, that's it. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Like I said, if you guys have any more questions, you're welcome to ask me. But thank you.